Hi everyone and welcome to another video. This video we're going to be looking at what was known as Blobby Gate, and those in Morecambe will know exactly what I'm going on about. And for those who may be offended by the subject, then please do not bother watching the rest of this video. So moving on with the video, it's hard to believe that once upon a time in the 1990s in Britain, with its revolutionary music scene, pop culture and groundbreaking political movements, the country became for a time obsessed with a pink blob. While today people have deep-rooted fascinations with Kim Kardashian, Apple products and the next reality TV show, the it trend was the one and only Mr Blobby, the strange creation of Noel Edmonds' BBC show Noel's House Party. Controversy exploded when Noel Edmonds began organising a number of Mr Blobby theme parks, all of which would be financial disasters. In 1994, one of those theme parks, Crinkly Bottom, also known as Blobbyland, threw Lancaster County Council into turmoil and cost taxpayers a whopping £2 million. So in this video, and taking extracts from a Lancashire Live article, we will be taking a look at the story of Blobby Gate and how the Pink Terror and Noel Edmonds theme park on the grounds of Happy Mount Park in Morecambe was a complete and utter shambles. So on to his origins. Noel's House Party was a staple show of the 1990s. It summed up British pop culture at the time and was ranked alongside later evening viewing such as Don't Forget Your Toothbrush and TFI Friday. Now, to the modern minds, these were kids' TV shows, but for adults, full of radio-like segments, comedy, celebrity appearances and a party atmosphere. These were the kind of shows that you had a few drinks to before going out and hitting the town. Noel Edmonds' show first aired on November the 23rd, 1990. Set in the fictional village of Crinkly Bottom, it featured the it crowd of British celebrities who posed as residents of the village, including Hello Hello star Vicky Michelle and Are You Been Served actor Frank Thornton. Many of the guest celebrities were subject to pranks through the show's Gotcha segment, which was possibly the first time hidden camera practical jokes had featured on television. Notable victims included Carol Vorderman, the late newsreader Jill Dando, the British sprinter Chris Akabusi, and rock band Status Quo. Noel's House Party was a smash hit, and at its peak, 15 million people tuned in to the Saturday night show. In Series 2, something momentous happened, something that would later change the fate of Morecambe and the Lancaster City Council. A new and rather strange character was introduced to Crinkly Bottom, and that was Mr Blobby, the pink and yellow bulbous humanoid who communicated using only the word blobby. Played by Glasgow native George McGill for a year before Barry Kilby took over, Mr Blobby was the chaos element in Noel's show. A regular in the show's Gotcha segment, most notably when he pranked rugby player Will Carlin. Blobby was like a hurricane of serendipity. Blobby Mania seemed to explode out of Mr Blobby's first TV experience in 1992, and it was as though he had been an established and well-loved figure for years. Christmas 1993 saw corporate Britain take full advantage of his rising popularity. Mr Blobby got a UK Christmas #1 with his single Mr Blobby, with the song staying there for 3 weeks. Quite a feat considering it had beaten generally talented contenders like Meatloaf and Take That to the top spot. It is still regarded, however, as the worst song of all time. In 1994, with Blobby at the centre of public attention, Edmonds decided to capitalise. Not content with the estimated £5 million he received as part of his 4-year BBC contract to host the house party, along with Telly Addicts and Telly Years, the presenter wanted to take Blobby Mania to the next level. So you'll be glad to know that we are finally now getting onto the theme park in Morecambe. and Edmonds and his production company Unique began looking into ways into which they could open a Blobby-themed leisure park soon after 1993. The first of the Crinkly Bottom theme parks opened in the small Somerset village of Cricket St Thomas during 1994. Opening what was, at best, a novelty and gaudy attraction in a quiet and idyllic Grade 1 listed wildlife park was not going down well with Cricket St Thomas residents, and the park was marred by bad publicity in its opening weeks. The quarry that housed Mr Blobby's house and part of the Crinkly Bottom High Street had allegedly been built without full planning permission. Complaints were made following some questionable treatment of the elephants in the wildlife park. Neighbours complained about the excessive noise, and English Heritage were concerned that the image of the Grade 1 listed estate was being spoiled by Blobby attractions. But footfall told a different story. The park welcomed more than 650,000 visitors in its opening season, making it more popular than Buckingham Palace, which had attracted only 420,000 visitors the same year. Obviously convinced by the success of the park in Somerset, Lancashire City Council began cooking up a deal with Unique and Edmonds to bring another Crinkly Bottom theme park to Happy Mount Park in Morecambe. Happy Mount Park opened during the 1920s as an urban municipal park space for families, but councillors obviously believed that it would be served better by putting Morecambe on the map as a home of another Edmonds leisure attraction. In the summer of 1993, Edmonds and Blobby had switched on Morecambe's illuminations, drawing a record 32,000 people to the town, a moment which may have stuck in people's minds as they considered making Blobby a permanent fixture. In 1994, Lancashire City Council agreed a deal with Edmonds and Unique, with councillors voting 59-1 in favour of a £300,000 investment in the scheme. It wasn't long before the council had put pen to paper on a 3-year deal with Unique. The excitement swelling around the opening of the park reflected the national Blobby Mania, which had the stranglehold on Britain. Lancaster City Council expected that the park would bring in another 240,000 annual visitors to the resort, while the Morecambe visitor ramped up expectations with frequent headlines. Morecambe is bracing itself for a pink and yellow spotted tidal wave of Blobby Mania, was one headline used by the local paper. It seemed a win-win for Morecambe, a town that was experiencing a slow decline, having been one of the premier British seaside destinations during the 1980s. Major outside sponsorship flowed into the project from Mars Chocolate, Fujifilm, and even British Rail, who gave away free advertising by promoting the nearby Bear Lane rail station as Bear Crinkly Bottom. On Saturday, July the 30th, 1994, Noel Edmonds' World of Crinkly Bottom was opened by Edmonds and Mr Blobby in the flesh. Within 2 days, 5,000 people had visited the attraction. By August, that number had reached 50,000 people. Mr Blobby returned to Morecambe on August the 5th to switch on the illuminations for a second year in a row. He was joined by Edmonds, who hosted a live edition of the house party. From the outside, the park seemed like a success. Vouchers for Crinkly Bottom appeared in the Mirror Group papers across England, including the Liverpool Echo, and holiday companies as far south as London were advertising package deals which included a trip to the Morecambe Leisure Park and a stay at Pontins for £90. However, the fortunes of Crinkly Bottom were to have a viciously short shelf life. Complaints began to surface when the park was granted an alcohol licence in August, before the council introduced a cheaper pricing structure for the park, prompting fears that the attraction visitor numbers aims would not be achieved. It was hoped that 250,000 people would visit the park by October, which was now looking like a wildly optimistic aim. Customers bombarded the council and local papers with complaints saying that the park wasn't value for money and there wasn't enough for kids to do. Soon after, a Happy Mount action group opposed Blobbyland, gaining 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 signatures on a petition to have it scrapped. 6,000 si On November the 28th, they voted 36-12 to scrap Crinkly Bottom. The leisure park closed after just 13 weeks, sparking national headlines. Definitely unlucky for some. So, on to the scandal and aftermath. Lancashire City Council blamed Unique Group Limited and Edmonds for the disaster. They accused Edmonds of breach of contract, causing them to terminate their agreement and leading to a bitter legal battle between them and the former Deal or No Deal host. Lancaster Council claimed Edmonds had failed to drum up visitors to the park by not making enough appearances in Morecambe, with Blobby in tow. This led to the council actually suing Edmonds for negligence and misrepresentation. It wasn't until 2003 that a report into the park from a district auditor brought more clarity. The district auditor, Clive Portman, found that Lancashire City Council was imprudent, irrational and unlawful in its dealings with Unique and Edmonds. The report showed that it was the council that were in the wrong. They had originally agreed a 60-40 share of the park's income with Unique, as well as a share of sponsorship. It then changed the agreement to offer Unique a fixed fee of £1 million over 3 years, with the council keeping all gate receipts and sponsorship. But when the attraction was hit by poor visitor numbers and sponsorship figures, the park was forced to close. The auditor made it clear that the council had made a mistake when they terminated their contract with Unique and launched their own legal battle. The council's legal case never reached a high court, and they ended up paying the TV presenter £950,000 in damages as part of an out-of-court settlement. The entire scandal cost taxpayers in North Lancashire £2.6 million. Once again, that's £2.6 million. Edmonds' line following the ruling seemed to haunt Morecambe thereafter. He said, "We wanted people investigated because they treated the people of Morecambe out of something very significant. I thought Morecambe was fabulous for shrimps. Now it's notorious for fudge." Morecambe was only the beginning. The Somerset Crinkly Bottom closed in 1996, followed quickly by the Lowestoft Park in 1997. Noel's house party was axed in March 1999, with ratings plummeting from their height of 15 million down to 8 million. Blobby Mania finally died. Morecambe got Happy Mount Park back, and the town slowly but surely moved on from the scandal. And there you have it. There is an extremely long video on the history of Mr Blobby and also the disastrous Blobbyland in Morecambe. I do hope you've liked it. If you have, please do comment, like, share and subscribe to my channel. It is now approaching nearly 1,000 subscribers, so I am very, very grateful for everyone for subscribing. And until the next video, take care of yourselves and cheerio for now.